And we continue at 1:05 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wings in Culver City.
John, the Los Angeles Times is reporting that it was Karen Bass who personally directed the watering down of the LAFD's Palisades After Action Report. I would tell you more, but I can't get past the paywall.
Well, of course it was Karen Bass. She was the one that looks awful. And it doesn't even matter how you look at that story. Her not being here, her having her liaison to public safety on administrative leave because they were calling in fake bomb threats, her not caring enough to make sure that there was water in the hydrants or that the fire department was notified by the Department of Water and Power that the reservoir was empty. Or how about fighting over jurisdiction with the state over who gets to put out the fire, and then the answer being, well, no one does. Everything that she did was the wrong way to handle it. And now she's trying to doctor up the report. And what they do is they doctor up the report, and if you go out and you say something that's not in her doctored up report, they say you're spreading misinformation. You're spreading fake news. That's what she said about the fire victims. Remember that? When they had the They Let Us Burn rally? They don't know what they're talking about, she said. Well, they were the ones that got lit on fire. You think out of all the people in the city, if anyone actually knows something about that fire, it would be the people who got burned down? But no, that's not how it works. And Bass goes on and she makes these claims citing these doctored reports. And you go to the mainstream media in the city, whether it's the LA Times or public radio or Spectrum or whatever, and they go, the actual reports show that what Bass is saying is correct and what Spencer Pratt and the fire victims are saying is misinformation. And so the people who aren't there, they believe all of this nonsense because that's what Bass and her allies in the media spew. And that's how she's hoping to hang on. If anyone deserves to lose, it's her.
It is a real litmus test in the city of Los Angeles if Karen Bass gets another 4 years after the disaster after disaster after disaster that happened under her watch. You have the Palisades. You have all the corruption with homelessness. Let's not forget the 10 freeway melted under her watch, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Can you name something that she's done that's a success?
I really can't. And I try to be generous. I really, really can't.
Yeah, well, it's time to throw that bass back in the lake.
Do you know what she did? And I thought this was such a weird moment at her, not the State of the City address that was more like a campaign rally because she's trying to ice out Lindsay Horvath, who wasn't invited to her State of the City address. She has all of these celebrations of all the great things that she's done, and she shouts out all the dignitaries in the crowd. And one of the people that she gave a shout out for was the Clean LA With Me guy, the guy who has an Instagram account who is picking up trash and going after the city because the city won't pick up trash. She brought him on stage to celebrate him. That man's whole existence is an indictment of how bad she is at her job.
And there's absolutely no self-reflection going on at all. Wouldn't you think if you were the mayor and you understood that your city was in the condition that it's in, that you would take a second look at some of your policies to try to make sure that you right the ship so you can win another 4 years? Or if you just realize that you don't have the skill set to do the job, go do something else. Life is short. Can you imagine doing a job day in and day out where you were just way in over your skis? That can't be fun. Could you imagine what life would be like if I was a commercial airline pilot, Randy?
Wouldn't last long.
Nope. One flight, exactly. Assuming we got off the ground. Could you imagine being an engineer building bridges?
Not this guy. I have no motor skills.
No, but that's Karen Bass being mayor of LA. But she likes the free stuff and she likes being able to go to all the inaugurations around the globe, so why not? All right. One of the subjects that we spend a lot of time talking about on this program is the meltdown of the insurance industry in California. And there is no bigger disaster of a plan in California than the FAIR Plan, which, Randy, is the plan of last resort.
It's the plan of only resort for a whole lot of people because thanks to Ricardo Lara's backroom deals with the insurance companies, over the last few years, the insurers have dropped as many policies as possible, knowing that they were going to get massive rate increases if they did it. They got rewarded for this behavior. And the FAIR Plan, which is not a state plan, it is a consortium of the big insurers. They got a rule change where now if the FAIR Plan goes broke, it used to be on them to make it good. That was the whole way it worked and why you wouldn't want to put people on the FAIR Plan. Thanks to Ricardo Lara, the FAIR Plan now can go after the consumer, go after the ratepayer anytime the FAIR Plan goes belly up. Well, there is possible movement in the legislature this year for more transparency with the FAIR Plan, including at the very least publicly detailing their meetings and all of their dealings, which all the other insurance companies have to do, but for some reason the FAIR Plan doesn't have to do. And this is where we have a great report from Julie Watts of CBS News Investigates in Sacramento. This aired on all 3 CBS stations throughout the state of California. And, of course, it involves the Trailblazer.
Trailblazing is rarely comfortable, yo.
Ooh, I can't wait for this.
For more, here is CBS Sacramento and our friend Julie Watts.
The FAIR Plan is supposed to be the insurance of last resort, but our investigation found more and more often it's the only resort, even for people in low wildfire risk areas.
And she's right about that. Thanks to a CBS News investigation, her investigation, we found out that the majority of FAIR Plan policies are in low wildfire risk areas. You assume that, oh, this is only for people in the mountains. These are only for people in woodland communities. No, 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 no. There are plenty of people in the burbs that are on the FAIR Plan,
including condo owners.
It also impacts those of us who are not on the FAIR Plan because we're now on the hook for the FAIR Plan's debt.
That was a rule change that Ricardo Lara made 1 week before the Palisades fires.
I'm very kind of sketchy.
Well, trailblazing ain't easy.
Anybody who has...
Let me make sure I just have it because I don't have it on the main wall yet, but I know we're going to need it. So here we go.
Trailblazing is really comfortable. Yo.
Thanks, Queen.
Anybody who has insurance in the state of California. But here's the catch. Our investigation also found that we don't get to know much about the FAIR Plan's finances, and we don't have a right to know what happens inside their secret meetings, which are run by insurance industry executives, even though we're on the hook for the decisions they make and the debt that may occur as a result.
Does this all sound like a scam? Because it is.
Oh, yes. And guess what? The taxpayers in California and the ratepayers are the ones paying the bill.
And Ricardo Lara, through his sustainable insurance nonsense, says, well, the reason we need to give the insurance companies everything they want and more is because it will depopulate the FAIR Plan. Johnny, has the numbers of the FAIR Plan gone up or down in the last year?
Up, 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 and away.
Well, that all may be about to change, thanks in part to our reporting with new legislation.
It's been horrible. It's so painful.
Just down the street from Helen Meisel's Pacific Palisades home, the neighborhood is still scarred by the Los Angeles wildfires.
Do you feel lucky that your house is still standing?
I have mixed emotions.
Months before the fires, Helen says she was forced to switch to the FAIR Plan, which costs more and covers less.
I'm paying $2.
And doesn't cover smoke damage, which is one of the battles that a whole bunch of people are going through right now. Although State Farm's not any better, they don't want to pay for smoke damage either.
Nope. If you are a FAIR Plan holder and something catastrophic happens, you're going to end up being forced to lawyer up.
I'm paying 2 policies, more than double, but I haven't received a penny.
Sarah was a first-time homeowner whose home survived a wildfire.
What they put me through...
She says the FAIR Plan left her feeling like she would have been better off if it hadn't.
They almost made me feel like I was going crazy.
Ken and Lisa were hoping...
Seriously, what's the point of having a Department of Insurance when we have case after case after case after case of these victims being abused by the insurance industry?
You talk to people who are the victims of these fires, whether it is in Altadena or Pacific Palisades, and you ask them, has your insurance company abused you? The answer for Fair Plan holders and State Farm, by the way, almost across the board is yes.
Ken and Lisa were hoping to buy their dream home in a low fire risk area.
I love it, baby. I love it.
I do too.
But they couldn't get insurance.
They said, I'm sorry, you're denied. And I was in shock. I thought, are you kidding me?
The reason all of us should care is that we're now on the hook, all of us, in case the Fair Plan runs out of money.
Thanks, Ricardo.
That was another change.
Which it did, which it has.
That's right.
Former insurance commissioner Dave Jones says the more homes that are forced onto the FAIR plan, the harder it'll be to cover those claims after a major disaster.
So since we're all on the hook, we ought to be able to see what's in those financial statements.
That was the heart of our CBS News California investigation, which found the California FAIR Plan is the only insurer in the state that does not publicly disclose its financials, and the only FAIR plan in the country without public board meetings, minutes, audits, and reports.
So they get to literally operate in secret. It is almost like a legalized form of collusion.
How is that allowed?
It's written into the law when they created this thing back in the 60s because nobody wanted to insure Watts after the riots.
First, we brought our findings to insurance industry representative Rex Frazier.
What do you say to the argument that since we're all on the hook, we ought to be able to see those financial statements? We ought to be privy to the executive board meetings.
You can understand how someone would have that opinion, but that's not the law today.
The insurance commissioner saw our reports.
Should it be legal that I don't have access to the FAIR Plan's financials, yet I'm on the hook for their debt?
It should not be legal, and it's not right.
You're in charge.
I love the fact that all of these people in elected office with the power to change things act as if they're just letter writers to the newspaper.
He has been the statewide insurance commissioner. This is the 8th year. Before that, he was in the legislature for a really long time. If this is a major problem, how has he done nothing about it?
Good question.
It should not be legal, and it's not right.
Following that interview, the FAIR Plan agreed to voluntarily increase transparency, but the only way to ensure accountability is to amend state law.
Can you commit, when you come back and sponsor legislation before the end of this session, that it will in fact require that the FAIR Plan is at least as transparent as its member companies?
100%.
I'm surprised we didn't get an absolutely.
Who's going to buy that? Ricardo Lara has had this job for a very long time, and it takes Julie Watts to get him to agree to do his job?
He came into that office with no ideas of what he would do to make life better for California ratepayers, the people who elected him to that office. He went into that office with the expectation that he would gobble up as many free trips as possible, as many free dinners as possible, as many free drinks as possible, and then leave fat, dumb, and happy.
I'm very kind of sketchy.
It needs to be accountable.
For Helen, the proposed legislation is a big step forward.
What they put me through,
For Sarah, it's about healing.
pretty traumatic.
And Ken and Lisa warn, without action by lawmakers,
Everybody's at risk. You don't get comfortable with your insurance company right now because they can drop you like that.
And all of this was supposed to change with Ricardo Lara greenlighting all of these rate increases, and it hasn't changed one bit.
Now,
Well, go back to what we said about Karen Bass earlier. If what you're doing isn't working, then why not recalibrate? The whole point of his reforms were to make it so that people were moved off the FAIR Plan onto private policies. And the opposite has happened. Well, clearly your reforms aren't working. So come up with something new. But what he does is he just says, well, it needs more time. Let's just leave it the way it is. Well, okay, what do you expect to happen? Why would you expect anything to change if you're not changing the policies that are producing a result that you don't want?
Well, and it gets people like me thinking, oh, this is his policies working as intended. It was never intended to get people off the FAIR Plan because it doesn't matter if you get on the FAIR Plan anymore. The insurance companies aren't liable, and they can raise rates on anybody they want to. This is Ricardo Lara's insurance policy.
Now, the transparency component of this legislation is just one piece. It would also require the FAIR Plan to expand coverage, to hire more people, to help speed up the claims process, and maybe most importantly, to come up with a long-term plan on how to address future disasters. Because keep in mind, we're all on the hook financially for those future disasters if they don't have a long-term plan. Now, we reached out to the FAIR Plan. They said that they had not seen the language yet, so they couldn't comment, but we will be tracking this bill as it makes its way through the legislature and almost certainly will face some opposition. What's interesting, guys, though, is the one piece of this legislation that everyone seems to agree on, or at least a need for, is this transparency component. So we'll keep you updated.
There's Julie Watts. When without her reporting, this is yet another issue that Sacramento would not be paying attention to.
Nope. And they like to pride themselves on how transparent they are at the same time where they bar you from understanding what's going on with the FAIR Plan. They don't want you to know how much the Capitol Annex project is going to cost. They're constantly trying to hide things from you regarding the bullet train. And they're coming up with secret hallways so that the electeds can avoid the reporters so they can't even get asked about it. And then they pride themselves on how transparent they are. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you and I are going to be eating oysters and shrimp cocktail and maybe some coconut shrimp this Friday.
I better just stop eating for the rest of the week so I can be prepared for Gladstone's in Long Beach. Join us for a live broadcast at one of our favorite places, Gladstone's in Long Beach, this Friday from noon to 3. We're heading back to Gladstone's in Long Beach for our next live broadcast, and you are invited. Come enjoy the great food, the good vibes, the good drinks, and a fun afternoon by the water. John Sangmeister runs a great joint down there, and he is going to take care of you. We'll have special guests like Susan Shelley from the Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association. She's going to tell you more about your taxpayer rights and protecting Prop 13. As we have told you, the courts have made it easier to raise your taxes. You want to talk about Measure ULA, Measure A, all of these tax increases that need a simple majority because a politician didn't put it on the ballot, a union put it on the ballot. Well, we would like to reverse that. So come by and sign the petition to save Prop 13. The deadline is coming fast. Susan needs all of those signatures. So if you can get them in by February 17th, you can go to the website, saveprop13.com. That is saveprop13.com. Come hang out with us, grab a bite, and be part of the broadcast. The John Phillips Show live at Gladstone's in Long Beach this Friday from noon to 3.
Do you like the coconut shrimp, or are you more of a fan of the savory stuff like the scampi or stuffed shrimp or shrimp cocktail?
Yeah, I really go for more savory than fried these days, but I love me some good shrimp, I'll tell you that.
My dad used to always say, you reach a certain age where you stop fooling around with cocktail sauce on your cocktail shrimp and you just go for the straight horseradish and lemon.
There you go. That's how I like my oysters.
That's what I do too. In the meantime, what do you say we make a couple of listeners very happy?
Well, let's do that right now. 790 KABC welcomes Stained to the Toyota Arena on October 10th. Tickets are on sale Friday at Ticketmaster.com. But right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-790-5222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by Live Nation. Good luck dialing.
But right now, it's time to open up the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
We couldn't make this stuff up if we tried.
I said, hell no, baby boy. Let me get up on out of here.
It's the California Crime Blotter.
And Randy, today's first edition takes us to West Hollywood,
where some burglars and a ladder were trying to rob second-story apartments.
That seems dangerous.
For more, Here's KTLA.
West Hollywood neighborhood shaken tonight after a resident comes face to face with a burglar breaking into his second-story home. The two would-be thieves were caught on camera using a ladder to access the balcony.
Tonight, the search is on for those suspects.
So they're not worried about drawing any kind of attention.
Yeah. What do you do if you're upstairs getting ready for bed and you see some idiot outside your window on a ladder? I think I would walk right over to that window and I'd say, you better be a peeping Tom.
Tonight, the search is on for those suspects who residents fear will strike again. Rachel Medetov in West Hollywood with a story you'll see only on 5. Rachel.
Micah Scher, the victim, is in his 80s. His age, though, was not going to deter him from scaring off these robbers who surprised him inside his own home.
Kind of out of this world.
This West Hollywood resident, Victor, wants to be anonymous after he came.
Everyone does.
Everyone is like Sammy the Bull Gravon. Well, Sammy the Bull is actually on TV by name now.
Nobody wants their 15 minutes of fame when they're the victim of a crime or even a witness to a crime.
Be anonymous after he came face to face with a robber inside his condo Sunday night.
You all of a sudden see a man who you don't know in your hallway, and it's like when I'm speaking to you right now, I see that face. it's very.
You see his face.
Yes.
He's a little traumatized.
Yeah, wouldn't you be?
Take a good look at this man. Surveillance video captures him looking up at the balcony. Together with his accomplice, who's standing watch down below, he takes a ladder, climbs up to the second floor, very cleanly cuts the lock off and walks inside. He's then startled by Victor, who emerges from his bedroom.
He made the sign to me, shushing me, you know. And so I started screaming at him. Get out. And
Victor corners the.
I'm sure it was a little louder than that.
I can imagine.
Get out. And
I don't know why, but I'm picturing this guy in his bedroom at night dressed like Ebenezer Scrooge with a little hat on his head and the one-piece pajamas.
Walking around with a little candlestick.
Yeah.
Get out. And
Victor corners the would-be robber, who scurries back down the ladder and takes off empty-handed.
They're clearly looking for something they can carry. So you're not trying to climb down a ladder, obviously with something huge. It's got to be jewelry and money.
They got to stuff their pockets and then safely get down the ladder. By the way, I think the moral of this story is if you see a ladder just sitting out outside of a balcony, assume that it's burglars and steal the ladder so they're trapped.
Oh, yeah. That's not Romeo coming for Juliet.
Jeff lives across the street on Vista Grande and was returning home just as the robbers hopped in their getaway car seen here in the background. He says it's a white or light-colored crossover or small to medium SUV, either a Honda or Toyota, and it can obviously...
See, all the Kias got stolen.
Yeah, I was going to say, we haven't done one of these stories involving a stolen Kia in a while.
Every Kia that was susceptible to that hack on TikTok with the USB drive has been stolen and crashed into a store at this point. They're all off the market.
And it can obviously fit a collapsible ladder.
It's the third one that's happened on this street, and they've all been the same scenario, which is a balcony that's reachable by a ladder.
The victim says in hindsight he thinks he's seen this man before, casing his neighborhood wearing a very distinct motorcycle-style backpack.
he was looking and walking and attentively looking around, looking at different alleys at different angles and staying in a corner of Hilldale and Vista Grande, observing situation.
I mean, maybe you can, feel flattered that of all the houses to rob, he picked yours because he thought you had the best stuff.
Well, he said, all right, Boris is here without Natasha. I'm sure he's going to be asleep, and I can slip in and take whatever I want.
And the LA Sheriff's Department has a copy of the videos you saw right there. Anyone with information about this case can and should give them a call. We're live in West Hollywood tonight. I'm Rachel Medetov. I'll send it back to you in the station.
So there you go. Even if you are on the second floor, doesn't stop you from being burglarized because turns out the criminals have ladders.
All right, it's time to reopen the blotter.
It's happened yet again.
I see. Time for the California Crime Blotter.
And Randy, this edition involves a firebug and a happy ending.
Somebody got caught, finally, for torching all those cars in San Jose. For more, here's NBC in the Bay Area.
San Jose police think they've arrested the firebug responsible.
I love that term.
San Jose police think they've arrested the firebug responsible for more than a dozen recent car fires. His name is Jose Rodriguez Barragan, and he's now been booked on multiple counts of arson, as well as drug charges and outstanding warrants. What's more, police say he isn't a stranger to that area.
NBC Bay Area's Robert Honda joins us now with details as well as new surveillance video of the suspect. Robert.
Police say surveillance video was the key in identifying and capturing the suspect. Today, we got to see more of the video that may have led to his capture. This is video the public hasn't seen till now. It comes from a business owner who was among the victims in the string of car arson fires. The surveillance video shows someone in a ski mask coming into a repair shop, lighting several vehicles on fire, then strolling off.
Why? I mean, we know why, but still, why?
I wonder how many people came across this gentleman in a ski mask and just figured, okay, well, that's a fashion statement I wouldn't make, but you do you.
Police say they believe that person is 30-year-old Jose Rodriguez Barragan, arrested in San Jose last Friday and charged in connection with 11 fires that damaged 19 vehicles in the past 2 weeks.
Our detectives reviewed hours of surveillance footage.
Okay, maybe I do understand why the state's uninsurable.
How long do you think it'll be before this guy's back out on the streets?
Well, apparently he already has a whole big record.
Our detectives.
Yeah, you'd think that there would be some form of rehabilitation going on for this guy's bad behavior, but no way, Jose.
Can we, I don't know, maybe this is a little too medieval, but can we break his thumbs in a way that he can no longer use a lighter?
Yeah, they would say that's cruel and unusual punishment because people under a certain age need to play video games to be normal.
Our detectives reviewed hours of surveillance footage and really reviewing these, piecing the puzzle together, which led ultimately to the identification of the suspect. We obtained an arrest warrant for the suspect, and on January 30th, with assistance of our Neighborhood Quality of Life unit, we located suspect Rodriguez Barragan in the city of San Jose and booked him into Santa Clara County Main Jail for arson as well as various other crimes, including his outstanding warrants.
Another auto shop owner who also had cars torched tells us he's grateful to hear of an arrest.
It's kind of like a relief now that we know he been caught. So now we can sleep a lot better now. So it helps a lot. Can
you imagine the phone calls this guy had to make of all the cars that were in his shop that got torched? And so somebody that's just going in to get a simple transmission job is like, oh, well, we got the transmission done, but your car's currently on fire.
Okay, wouldn't you blame him if that was your car?
So now we can sleep a lot better now. So it helps a lot on our community here to find out that he's in custody.
According to police, Barragan is unhoused.
Of course.
There you go.
And looked familiar to some of the people in the area around Highway 87 where all the fires were set.
He might look familiar. I might see him a couple times around here. That's all I can say about him.
Considering the number of incidents that suspect Rodriguez Barragan was involved, there may be other arson incidents in the city of San Jose that he could be associated to.
So looking into...
Is it really so cruel to not just keep someone like this in prison?
You can't fix this. This guy has been a criminal his entire life. He's got 1,000,001 problems. He's homeless. Just figure out a way to lock him up and throw away the key.
If your kink is that you get a thrill out of setting things on fire, you need to be removed from society and maybe forever, because I don't know if you can cure that.
No, especially in this state where people can lose their homes. They can lose everything that they own. Obviously, we have the insurance crisis. Nothing good can happen from this guy being released.
So looking into those other cases means this is still an ongoing investigation. The district attorney's office says it is still reviewing the case, so no court date has been set yet. In San Jose, Robert Honda, NBC Bay Area News.
Okay, thank you very much, Robert.
So South Bay residents can sleep a little easier knowing that the San Jose arsonist has been caught. For now.
For now. Yes. That's a key part of this. But right now it's time to reopen the California Crime Blotter.
It's happened yet again. It's Wild Wild West out here.
It's the California Crime Blotter with John
and Randy.
And Randy, this edition takes us back to Los Angeles.
Mid-Wilshire, burglaries. Let's go to KTLA.
In other news, residents in a Mid-Wilshire neighborhood believe that they're being targeted by burglars who are watching their homes. The homeowners say that the recent crimes are making them feel helpless, really, and afraid in an area where they should be feeling safe.
Yes, for as much money as they're paying to be at Mid-Wilshire, that's for sure.
It costs a fortune to live in an area with a ton of traffic.
KTLA's Jennifer McGraw spoke with some of those victims and joins us live in Hollywood with more. Hi, Jen.
Karine and Rick, good evening. Yeah, it seems like no area is safe from Hollywood to the San Fernando Valley. Now here in Mid-Wilshire, neighbors say more needs to be done to stop these burglaries.
That's not going to change until management changes.
Yep, you need a new council person and you need a new mayor.
Here, the back door is kicked in.
Seriously, anybody in that district, are you happy with Katie Yaroslavsky?
Why would you be?
Here, the back door is kicked in, shattering the glass and leaving behind a trail of destruction while the family was out of town in just 2 days before Christmas.
Oh, well. We're a little late to this story.
I guess they were looking for that new iPhone, huh?
That was mine. Grandma and Grandma gave it to me.
Well, this kid's getting a real-life education.
Well, now that Labubu is being sold on the black market.
Just took everything.
Stealing a young son's Christmas cash and prized Pokemon card.
Of course.
How many times do the Pokemon cards make it to the blotter?
I'm telling you, it is the hot item. They're worth way more money than anyone thinks that they are. You steal them, and then you sell them either online or to another card store where then they can flip them and then sell them for more. It is a crazy economy out there. Last year it was Legos. This year it's Pokemon cards.
Stealing a young son's Christmas cash and prized Pokemon card among thousands of dollars in goods and irreplaceable personal items.
I think they were just targeting jewelry and cash, and from what we understand, that's
and Pokemon.
Oh, yes, which is more valuable than some of the jewelry.
Kind of been the MO for a lot of the neighbors that have been hit in the area.
Emily asked us not to show her face on camera.
Everybody's afraid of getting retaliated against.
Like clockwork.
She feels frustrated, frightened, and violated.
I think it was super traumatizing for especially my son, and especially because it was around Christmas.
Then this. Thieves caught cutting the cord to the camera, then tossing it into the swimming pool.
That is cruel.
I went into room by room and saw the master bedroom. The bed was completely taken apart. The mattress was on its side.
This happened just down the street from Emily's house last Thursday. Again, the neighbor asking us not to reveal her identity.
Everyone in this neighborhood's in the witness protection program.
Does Karen Bass even watch the news?
No, she does not. She listens to KNX, and KNX says she's doing great.
They took watches, laptops, cash.
Finding out through social media, multiple homes have been hit in the same vicinity.
It just seems to be so rampant. It's really disturbing.
And
crime is down, huh?
Oh, yeah. Can't you read?
And they say catching these criminals feels hopeless.
They were completely head to toe, hoodie, a mask, gloves.
Well, maybe they had COVID.
Oh, yes. They paid close attention to Barbara Ferrer.
Next slide.
Even with cameras and alarm systems in place, these crooks know what they're doing.
They come in their pros. They knew exactly what to do. They took out our motion light in the backyard. They took out our neighbors. And they're pretty high up and hard to get.
In addition to police presence, the community hopes neighbors come together and form an alliance to help stop these burglaries. Anybody with information should contact police. We're live in Hollywood. Back to you in the studio.
So there you go. A whole bunch of burglaries going on in the mid-Wilshire area a few weeks ago. And are we seeing any changes? No. But when you hear the words from Karen Bass or Katie Yaroslavsky, hey, crime is at its lowest level in L.A. since the 1960s.
I will say this about these victims, though. At least these people didn't make excuses for the crooks. Because how often do we do blotter stories where we talk about someone having their Christmas gift stolen, someone having a burglar come into their house and stealing the safe or jewelry, cash, whatever, their car, and they say, well, times are tough these days, and I know people are having a tough time feeding their families, and they're doing things that they otherwise wouldn't do. But you listen to the details about what happened here, and you had multiple people who were dressed up, wearing all black, wearing the hoodies, wearing the gloves. They knew exactly where to clip the line to the cameras. They threw the cameras in the pool. They were in, they were out. They knew exactly where to go. These are professionals. There are professional burglars that exist. This is what they do for their job. This is their vocation, and they're very good at it. They're not people who used to work at the plant and then the plant closed down and now they don't have money and now they have a sick child and they have to feed little Pip from Great Expectations and they have to get him his penicillin and all that stuff. That's a fantasy. It's just like the fantasy that they constantly tell us about, how people are homeless because the cost of living is just too high in California. And if we just have more people living in multi-use buildings above a Panda Express, riding the bus, then people wouldn't be living on the streets. It's not true. We all know it's not true. But for whatever reason, we all have to buy into the lie. That is the expectation out there, that we all just buy into the lie. And when you see the victims of crime repeating the lie because they know that's what they're supposed to do, it just drives me crazy because that's a level of brainwashing that I don't think you can fix. And the fact that these people in this story felt compelled to, A, not putting their identity on TV because they know it's going to happen again or could happen again or they could be targeted, but also not making excuses for the people who victimize them. Maybe we're starting to turn a corner. I don't know. It's possible.